Oh my god. One Piece is peak! Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, it's so fucking good! One Piece is peak! So, because you guys wanted me to do another video on One Piece, here we are. Finally decided to start reading them online. I've been blasting through the chapters. I'm about halfway through now, and oh my gosh, I am so obsessed with this. I literally can't stop reading it. I'm so glad I did this. It's so good! It's so good! And anybody who says there is not, they're performative. So punch them in the face, they're performative. Anyways, because I love this so much, I thought it would be fun to just make a video glazing it. This is my second part of my One Piece videos. Luffy is a charismatic yet determined man in search of becoming the king of the pirates and discovering the One Piece. He's pretty much an idiot, which allows him to be impulsive in dangerous situations. He's the type of guy who goes in guns blazing without considering the consequences or even has a plan. And this is because he told himself as a kid that he would never fail, which made him have grit to continue fighting no matter what. He also is kind of a family man, as he would do anything for his friends and even the people he just met like a page ago.
You again.
If you're in trouble, you have food.
Hey, look! Apples!
And he likes you, he'll gladly risk his life in order to make yours better. You see that when he risks his life to fight Arlong in order to save Nami from Arlong Park. And you also see that when he fights Inaru, I think that's how you say it, I might be butchering it, I don't know, in order to ring the bell for the people down below. You also see that when he fights the fucking CP9 to rescue Robin.
I want to live! Take me with you! Take me away from here!
It's truly insanity, and he's an insane human being. And he's always getting himself into the most ridiculous hijinks and always putting other people's at risk, no matter what. He caused the world government
Leave now. If you don't, we will find you and we will deport you.
and to fight tooth and nail to murder him and his crew, and yet he still runs across the seas with a giant smile and a tee. He also has the tendency to trust everyone no matter what.
There are 3 signs that signal the approach of the hash-slinging slasher.
And it often results in some sort of conflict. But the big thing I wanted to touch on about Luffy is that he believes nothing can stop him, which I believe is what causes him to be this reckless, even in life or death situations. And the biggest example of this is the fate of his brother Ace. And when they were young, they both promised that they would conquer the seas and someday meet up again.
I'm gonna be the king of the pirates!
In Impel Down, when Ace is in danger of being executed by the Navy just for being the son of Gold D. Roger, who was the last pirate king, Luffy risked his and countless other lives in order to save him because of how much he loved Ace throughout his life. Even when he's not strong enough, he still pushes through because of how much he cares about the people around him. And when Ace evidently sacrifices himself in order to protect Luffy from this fire punch, Luffy is unable to save him. All of his determined energy just to fall short at the finish line. Ace was killed right in front of his eyes.
And you, Luffy. For loving me. We are Charlie Kirk. We carry the flame. We'll fight for the gospel. We'll honor his name. What the fuck?
You need to leave!
And the fact that Luffy can't stand not being able to save everyone makes him a really lovable character to me. Yet he puts everyone on his shoulders and never leaves anyone behind. And when it collapses, he doesn't know what to do. And to me, this is the start of his growth, as he realizes that he will not be able to save everyone no matter what. And sometimes in life, you just have to let go and realize your own strength in the situation. We saw an example of this when the crew was being attacked by Kuma, where he kept shouting to them that they were not strong enough and they needed to run away from him. which only led to the failure of them escaping the situation and being torn apart from each other for 2 years because they were zapped into different places around the world. His recklessness eventually is his downfall, but without it, there truly would be no character to explore. Does this make him the greatest character of all time? Absolutely. Everyone needs a friend like him. Zoro, previously a pirate hunter turned pirate, is Luffy's first crew member.
7番が一番に偉そうに言いやがって。
何来た順番でランキングしてやがんだ
And he is a swordsman who uses the 3-sword style, which essentially means 1 sword in each hand and 1 in his mouth. To me, he's like the opposite of Luffy because he's much more serious and grounded in reality, but he is also pretty stupid, just as Luffy is, and he's always somehow getting lost no matter where he goes, and it's just hilarious. But he also fights with more of a plan in mind, where every time he fights, he's always getting shanked and just always unconscious. Not only that, but he's also extremely tough and will fight for the people he loves no matter what, just as Luffy does. He'll put his life on the line in order to save other crew members. There's a great example of this when Luffy gets taken down by Bartholomew Kuma, who's one of the warlords. Zoro is given a choice to take all of the pain Luffy suffered from the battle in order to prevent him from being killed by Kuma.
What in the hell happened here? What happened here? Nothing at all.
That was so tough. When Zoro was a kid, he was in a swordsman training program, and his goal was to beat Kina because she was considered the strongest in the group, and he wanted to be stronger than her. But when he tried to fight her, he just kept getting beat over and over and over again. And eventually, she told him that she would never be the greatest swordsman simply because she's a woman, and Zoro basically said, "Shut the fuck up. One of us is gonna be the greatest swordsman of all time, and we're gonna fight to get there." Unfortunately, she died from a fatal accident of falling down the stairs. And because of that, Zoro became so determined to become one of the greatest swordsmen in order to fulfill that promise to her. Initially, when Zoro met Luffy, he wanted nothing to do with him, but after Luffy saved him from getting captured by the Navy, he ended up joining forces with Luffy and setting sail for the sea. I just really love Zoro's growth because it starts with him as essentially a nomad, just kind of going around the world by himself and not wanting to deal with anybody. And then right now, it's like he's really found his people and he cares so much about his crew. And now Luffy and Zoro are like besties. And I think this stems from him being so afraid to lose people, just like he lost his friend when he was young. So he was afraid to kind of connect with people. Connecting with Luffy kind of re-sparked that, and he was able to find that passion and caring again. Also, his eye got sliced and it looks really cool. So Nami is a very layered character, as she was introduced as a thief, but over time became one of my favorite characters in the manga. When she's introduced, she too does not want anything to do with Luffy, but agrees to tag along because she wants to get treasure. And she said she would be their navigator. And as they're sailing, we slowly see her kind of develop, and we realize that she was actually just taking advantage of them to steal their treasure. When I saw it, I was like, oh, no. They ended up going to Arlong Park, where Nami was like a henchman of Arlong, basically. Terrorized her town and took control of it, and told her, "Bring me 100 million berries and I will set the town free."
Liar!
So that explains why she was a thief and why she was so conniving. I realized, oh wow, she was just doing this out of kindness, and it was so heartbreaking to see. And at that point, when everything collapses, she asked Luffy for help.
Luffy, help me. Of course.
And it was interesting because when we originally meet her, she's portrayed as independent and strong. And this is the first time where she accepted that sometimes it is okay to ask for help. And you can still be independent even if you need help. And I just thought that was beautiful. And after that whole fiasco, you can see how traumatized Nami becomes from Arlong Park. And you can see that when she meets Hachi again, and then also when she goes down into Fishman Island. Nami is also the brains of the crew, because without her, they wouldn't be able to navigate the sea and go to different islands. And I also find it funny how Nami is constantly yelling at Luffy. She's stern, but she's also charismatic and knows exactly when to abort from a dangerous mission. But it never works because Luffy just drags her into it. Nami's my queen! The next idiot in the crew is Usopp. And he has a really interesting character because he's both stupid and a pussy. He's also strong in many other ways. Usopp was on an island. He pretended that he was a captain of a pirate ship, and he was a total liar in his village where he would always say there's pirates coming. There were no pirates coming. He was just a compulsive liar because he thought it was funny. He had a sweet spot for Kaya, and he was so kind to her, and he would tell her stories that were not true about him being a pirate. But it would make her feel a lot better because she was a lonely child and helped her mentally and it made her happy. So that was really sweet. Zoro, Nami, Luffy allow him to come on the ship on their journey. For the most part, is just being an idiot the whole time, and he doesn't do a lot. He tries to help with slingshot powers, but they're not that strong, and he's considered like one of the weaker people of the group. Since he feels he's so weak, he doesn't feel like he's adding anything to the crew. One of the most character-defining moments for him is when they realize that they have to get rid of the merry-go because she will sink. Usopp originally gets super upset. He crashes out. He's like, we're not leaving the merry-go. And he says, if we leave the merry-go, you leave me too. And I'm gonna separate myself from the crew. And to understand this, you gotta think about how Kaya was the one that gave him the ship. And this was the only thing that he felt he was giving to the crew. He thinks if they get rid of the ship, then they're also getting rid of him. So then he ends up fighting Luffy knowing he's gonna lose. And he admits that the merry-go is out of commission and he needs to try to move on from it. And through this, he was able to kind of understand more of his feelings and realize he wants to be stronger for them. With all his will, he apologizes to them after Zoro had said,
"But if he doesn't apologize for what he did and pretends like nothing ever happened between the two of you, then I won't forgive him and I won't stand for it."
I'm sorry!
During the 2-year time skip, he became a lot stronger and he fulfilled his dream to be stronger and to provide more for the crew. He has more slingshot abilities and he's like much more powerful now. But yeah, Usopp is just a very kind person. His nose is funny. Sanji is the cook for the crew, and his backstory comes from when he was working at a restaurant in the sea, and he was working with a really tough manager, and he was very strict on him, so he became like a master chef. He also has really powerful feet.
I've had a foot thing since I was a little boy. I don't know what it is.
So he's good at kicking, so it uses it as his power. It's pretty cool because throughout the manga you see that it gets more and more powerful and it like his legs start to go on fire and it's so tough. When Sanji was a kid, he ended up stranded on an island with this pirate named Chef Zeph after they survived a sea storm. He essentially saved Sanji's life by giving him all the food they had because originally he thinks that the food that was given to him was just a little portion and that Chef Zeph had so much more. But it's revealed that he actually gave all the food to him and in that bag was just treasure. So that really taught Sanji to like never waste food and to always feed hungry people because Chef Zeph had basically almost sacrificed his life for Sanji, as well as even chopping off his leg in the water trying to save Sanji from drowning. And that's just fascinating because at the beginning when he's a kid, he's like not wanting to eat gross food that he thinks can be wasted, but now he never wastes food just because of his experience as a kid. But Sanji is obsessed with women, like in an unhealthy way. With him trying to flirt with Nami and Robin is so hilarious to me. He's always like trying to get on their good side and protect them. One of the things he likes to do is try to one-up Zoro and how tough he is, just so he can impress Robin and Nami. But Robin and Nami don't give a fuck. My favorite part is when he's cooking food and then he's like, "Oh, Nami!" It's so funny. Also, when they go to Fishman Island, Sanji ends up becoming sick from not seeing women because he was on an island of basically like drag queens for the 2 years that they were apart. He's literally bleeding out of his nose and his mouth because of the women he's seeing. He's like at risk of dying. And it's so stupid. Oh my gosh. Sanji is just like a simp, bro. For like half of the time I was reading, more than half actually, I thought Sanji was satire, but apparently he's not. Apparently that's just... wow. So Sanji's goal is to go to the All Blue, which essentially is where all the seas, the north, south, east, and west seas connect together. And it's told to be like a paradise for chefs. They all cook there in that area. He's trying to make it as like one of the best chefs in the world. But his weakness is women. And it's so funny. There's another scene where he's like fighting, I forget who it was, but he's fighting someone. And he decides not to fight her because she's a woman. He's like, oh, I can't fight you. It's so funny. Also, what is hilarious is when Neptune's daughter falls out of the shark's mouth, Chopper is like, no, don't look, don't look, don't look. And Sanji basically says, nah, I'm willing to die for what I love. So he nearly died from looking at a woman, and it's so funny. And I love Sanji. He's hilarious. That's like the main character of him. As of now, there's not much of an arc. I'm assuming we're gonna get there, but Sanji is a simp. Raccoon Dog. Oh, nope, Chopper. Is a half man, half human who ate the human fruit. Essentially meaning he was a reindeer and he turned half human. So Chopper is the doctor of the crew, and he's also a big scaredy cat. He knows exactly what he's doing in terms of medical things, and he knows how to take care of people. He saves people's lives all the time, but he's also just constantly scared of everything no matter what. And it's kind of funny because for a doctor who's like treating wounds and seeing all that, is just scared of everything, and it's just funny to me. But because he ate the devil fruit, he was kind of seen as an outcast his whole life until he was taken in by the Dr. Hurlick, I don't know how to say it, who kind of accepted him as like a son and taught him all these medical practices, and also showed him his passion for wanting to be a doctor and wanting to help people. But unfortunately, his doctor was killed by drinking a highly explosive substance, and he sacrificed himself in order to save Chopper from attacking Wapol. Very noble of him. And Chopper also ended up saving Nami's life because she was extremely sick. She had a really bad flu, and that's kind of what led him to become part of the crew, because Luffy was so grateful for him saving Nami, taking care of them. They were freezing to death in the cold. It was such a beautiful thing to Chopper because he was labeled as weird and strange his whole life, and now he's found people who accept him for who he is, and that's just awesome and beautiful. If you think about it, it's a win-win for both the crew and him, because Chopper dreamed to explore the world and go on adventures, and the crew needs a doctor. Nico Robin genuinely might be my favorite character right now. She's actually has so much depth and growth, it's insanity. So she was originally seen as one of the Baroque work officers, as All Miss Sunday, and at first we kind of see her as just like any other villain, you know. She has the devil fruit power called the flower fruit, which allows her to put like hands anywhere she wants. It's freaky as hell, and she can just grab people. It's insane. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's freaky. After Luffy takes out Crocodile, Baroque Works is essentially finished. With nowhere left to turn and her also being betrayed by Crocodile, she decides to jump on the Straw Hat ship. And at first they're like, what the fuck? Get out of here. We don't want you. You're a villain. But she insists that she has nowhere to go and that she will be helpful to the crew. So reluctantly they accept her. Of course, Luffy is really chill about it. He doesn't care. But then when we get to Sabaody, she disappears from the group and says that she can't be with them anymore. at this point, she'd already been part of the crew for a while now. And when Sanji tries to chase her down and figure out where she is, we see flashback of her talking to a CP9 member. We learn she was essentially forced to shoot and kill Iceberg as the CP9 used because they knew they were gonna kill her prior to this. And why were they gonna kill her? Because she liked history. So, her backstory starts when she lived on an island that was completely eradicated by the government, and her mom was essentially like a pirate with a bounty that left her, and she was going to journey across the sea to learn about the Pone Cliffs, which is this wall of told stories about history that also contains the information for the 100-year gap in history, but it can also unlock the ancient weapon if they know how to read it, which is strong enough to destroy the whole world if put in the wrong hands. Nico becomes very, very lonely as a child. She ends up becoming friends with this giant who is from Elbaf, and eventually her mom comes back. And her mom pretends not to know her because she doesn't want her daughter to know that she's an offspring of a criminal, and she thinks she's a horrible person. Oh my gosh. Every time I think about that, it just makes me tear up. It's so sad. Finally, she realizes that's her mom, and she says she has to go. The whole island gets destroyed just because everyone there wanted to study the Pone Cliffs, and it was dangerous to be archaeologically interested. I don't fucking know. After she shoots Iceberg, she ends up getting on a train with the CP9, knowing that they're gonna kill her. And at this point, she essentially has given up and just accepted that she's gonna die because she's been hunted by the CP9 her entire life. She's been on the run. Luffy is determined to save her from this. They end up going to Enna's lobby where the train was going. This is genuinely an incredible arc. And Robin keeps pushing that, don't come and save me. I don't want to be saved. Everything's fine. I'm never gonna see you again. And the crew realizes something horribly wrong is going on. All culminates to one of the best scenes I've ever seen in storytelling.
Tell me you wanna live!
So I guarantee, someday you'll find friends who won't ever leave you.
I want to live! Take me with you! Take me away from here!
I just can't do it. I can't take this shit no more, man.
It was the first time that a book has ever made me cry, and oh my god, she is praying, pleading for help. She was pretending not to care just because she didn't want the crew to get involved in it, potentially be killed by the CP9. Essentially, it was a sacrifice for her because she was giving up her life in order to save them, because these were the people that she felt like she cared about the most in her life, and she loved how kind and wonderful they were to her. Oh my god, I'm getting emotional. And so Luffy comes, he beats the shit out of Rob Lucci, and as Robin is about to be taken into the gates, Usopp fires a bullet and shoots the guy attacking her. And now she is so desperate to live, she runs away. Frankie gets off her handcuffs and she finishes the blow by fucking obliterating and mutilating this guy and getting the satisfaction of destroying this man because of what he did to her. After that, she becomes a part of the crew, and it's just such a gorgeous story. And her character is so layered, and as much as she pretended that it was okay to die, she realizes how beautiful life is with the Straw Hat Pirates, and she wants to continue the journey with them. After all these years of being alone, she finally found her true friends. And it's so gorgeous. Genuinely might be my favorite character in the manga, excluding Luffy maybe, but yeah, it's a whole ride with her. It's amazing. Nico Robin is the GOAT. Frankie. Oh god, where do I even start with this guy? He's a freak. That's all you need to know. Moving on. Franky is a shipwright who essentially is a cyborg due to him getting brutally run over by the sea train in order to save his mentor. He basically fixed his body, all his knowledge of shipwright and making metal and putting his body back together. His whole thing is that he's just a freak. Like, he's actually so weird. When we first see him, he's walking around with his tighty whities on and the hairy legs and he just likes doing that. But he is the leader of the great Franky family in Water 7. Basically, these people are both bounty hunters and ship dismantlers. Basically, they go around the city and dismantle ships for cash, but they're also still good people at heart, and they put so much energy into protecting the city and the citizens there. And he's just funny because he has this thing where he says, "Super!" He like puts his arms together to do the star, like the JoJo star. To me, he's like the comedic relief of the manga. But the reason he was able to join the crew was because they went to Water 7 looking for a shipwright. He was definitely the perfect guy for it. So they stole his tidy whities and forced him to get on the ship, which was ridiculous, and that was so disgusting. And he's just a pervert. He ended up building the Sunny for them, which he said was the greatest ship he's ever built. And so he was able to sail it with them, which was awesome. But the thing about him is that he was the successor of the blueprints for the ancient weapon. So he had the blueprints and he essentially just burned them in front of the CP9's eyes. And that's interesting because he could have made the weapon himself, but he chose not to because he knows how dangerous it is and he didn't want to give it into the wrong hands. Iceberg needed him to keep it in order to prevent it from getting out into the world. But now the blueprints are gone. No one can access them, but he might still be able to make it. And Franky was also a big part of saving Robin. He protected her a lot from the gunfire from the CP9, shielding it with his robotic arms, and he ended up taking the handcuffs off of her. But honestly, I don't have a lot to say about Franky just because I haven't been with his character for super long and he hasn't had much development yet. But no, I really like his character. He's really funny and he's just a goofball. He's very helpful to the crew and he's very loyal to them. Franky the Freak. Brook is yet another freak in the crew, and his story is basically when they were sailing the Grand Line, there was this area that was considered haunted and there was like a ghost ship, and so Luffy's dumbass is like, oh, let's get on the ship. So both Sanji and Nami come to try to keep him from doing anything stupid. They go up to the ship and there's a skeleton and he immediately is so tweaked out.
Could you perhaps show me your panties?
Yeah, right!
Yes! Yes!
Not gonna lie, I don't like that joke. I think it's weird. It's okay. Anyways, without any doubt, Luffy is just automatically like,
Hold on. Huh? I got one for you. You ready? Will you join our crew?
Yes, certainly.
and everyone's like, what the hell are you talking about? And this is really interesting because at the beginning of the manga, Luffy said one of the crewmates he wanted was a musician. Brook is a musician. He can play the piano and the violin, as far as I know. And it's funny because now he's like actually got a musician after all that time. But Brook is an interesting character because this is where his character connects to the story of Laboon, which was way back, like first like 10 volumes, I think, something like that. Basically, Laboon was a whale that they discovered that they learned was abandoned by their friend. It is revealed that Brook was that pirate that abandoned him. It was actually really sad because it starts showing like flashbacks of Laboon with Brook and his pirate crew, how he met through the ocean. They were like really fond of this tiny little whale and it was just super cute. Brook and his crew decide they're gonna sail the Grand Line. They're like, oh, it's too dangerous for Laboon. Let's leave him here with somebody that can take care of him. So he stays there. They all say, we'll be back someday, we promise. And unfortunately, the whole crew gets killed in the Grand Line. They all die. Brook is the only one left because he ate the devil fruit that allowed him to be revived. So that's why he's a skeleton. For 50 years, he was just on that ship, just floating, couldn't see through the fog. And Laboon was just screaming and crying and banging his head against the rock because he missed Brook so much. And bro, it's so heartbreaking. Oh my gosh. Why does this manga... Oh, why is it so sad? And Brook has this song, and it's just super fun to listen to, because how I read it was exactly how it sounded. Yeah, he's a goofy guy. He's always asking to look at women's panties, and rightfully he gets fucking decked out. One thing that I think is beautiful is that he wants to keep his hair the way it is. Like, he doesn't want to lose his hair because he's afraid that if he does, once he goes back to reunite with Laboon, that Laboon won't recognize him. And I just think that's gorgeous. It's so sweet to see like these connections in the manga and like these characters. Like, my god, these characters are so good. Brooke needs to shut the fuck up. Not only are the characters in this manga incredible, but it also has a very fun and interesting world that Ichiro Oda explores. So it's divided into sagas, which have their own arcs in all of them, including
the East Blue Saga, including Romance Dawn, Orange Town, Syrup Village, Barity Arc, Arlon Park, and Loungetown Arc. Then, the Alabasta Saga, including Reverse Mountain, Whiskey Peak, Little Garden, Drum Island, and Alabasta. Then Sky Island, Jaya, Skypiea, Water 7, Long Ring, Long Land, Water 7, Ennis Lobby, Post Ennis Lobby. Thriller Bark is just at Thriller Bark. Summit War Saga, Sabaody Archipelago, Amazon Lily, Impel Down, Manford, Post-War, Fishman Island, Return to Sabaody, Fishman Island, and that's as far as I've gone. I'm on Dressrosa now into Punk Hazard, and that's as far as I've gone. Not gonna look anymore.
my personal favorite of these islands probably has to be Skypiea, as it takes the idea of like heaven and like the clouds but turns it into an ocean. And I just think that's super cool, and it just seems like such a peaceful place to live in besides Inaru. But like just the whole world and the expansiveness of it is just so pretty to me. Honestly, bro, like it just seems so chill. I also really enjoyed Water 7 mostly because of its story. I think the world was pretty cool because it was kind of built as like a utopia where all of these pirates came together with like canals like in Venice, Italy. And then they use like seahorses for transportation, which is very fun and unique. Yeah, all this is just like really good world building to me. I just love how Oda really took his knowledge of pirates and the world of that time and kind of made it into his own creative world that doesn't exist. And it's fun because he includes modern day things like screens, headphones, trains, microphones, all that kind of stuff. It adds much more character to the world because it makes it unique where you have to kind of decipher what time period this is. I really love the snail transponders too, because that's just super unique. And for how rich and dense this world is, it brings a lot of room for Oda to put his characters into like interesting situations. And it's a perfect example of having characters that are so good that they can pretty much be in any world. Sometimes you have a great world to explore and stories, but at the end of the day, to me, it's the characters that are the most important. Because if you don't have good characters to drive the narrative, the world will just become boring and bland. And honestly, empty too. But since I've been glazing, this whole video, One Piece has neither of these issues. And another great example of like the world building is Sabaody, because it is an island that is covered with like bubbles, which can allow the residents to like coat their ships in order to travel, be able to like jump on them like Luffy does in this clip.
God, you are scared.
And I swear everything you can imagine in like a pirate world is pretty much there, and it's super neat. It's just so sick to see like a story about an old time period, but added with like futuristic things and modern day things as well. This world is genuinely fantastic, and it makes sense why One Piece has gone on so long, considering how massive and expansive it is, and how much there really truly is to explore within the world. Maybe this is a hot take, but I really think this could work as a comedy cartoon, just because of the sheer amount of exploration there is. No? Okay. One Piece has many, many, many themes, and one of the big things I picked up on was the idea of friendship. As there's so much that Luffy does to take care of his friends and to fight for them, that it kind of brings that theme and that message out about friendship love can be just as good as romantic love, and how friends should always be there with each other no matter what. And I just think this messaging is beautiful. Yeah, it's about pirates, it's about crazy powers, devil fruits, but at the end of the day, day, it's really about connecting with your friends and spreading love around the world. There's also other themes of like hatred and racism, and those are touched on really well, as it's showing that we can all be friends no matter what, and that we shouldn't base anybody on their ethnicity or the color of their skin. And you can see that in Fishman Island when everyone's super racist to the humans, and that's just one of the themes of like, they realized that humans at the end of the day were the ones that saved them, even though they had all this hatred towards humans. And it kind of opened their eyes, intertwined that theme into the manga. There's a lot of dark things as well, like slavery shit. Oh my gosh, like, yeah, there's a lot of things that are very dark about, but I think the messaging of the manga is to tell everyone to love each other and not to spread hate. And I think this is extremely relevant to today, considering just all the chaos going around in the world right now. And I think it's important for everyone watching this to at least try to read One Piece. You don't have to read all of it, but try to get through some of it, just to kind of understand what it means to love. And I think stories like this will make the world a better place, because it's showing the humanity in others and how we should really care about each other and not just kill each other over the dumbest things. And that messaging is just so beautiful to me, and I love it so much. So that was the video. This is the longest video I've ever made. Right now it's at 36 minutes, but it might cut down though. But no, this was really fun for me to do. I love One Piece so much, and I'm hopefully going to be doing another video when I catch up, and then when the manga's over, so I'll be doing highlights of that as well. But yeah, thank you so much for getting through all of this. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm gonna go read some more One Piece. Here's my first collection of the books, and then here's my box set. I got Dressrosa one, as well as the New World one, the one that I'm working on right now. These box sets are just so damn cool, and I'm hoping I'm going to collect all of the manga at one point in my life.